Hello everybody, welcome back to the show. Today my guest is Paul Rafosala. Paul is a beekeeper from the Philippines and his business is called Rafosala Bee Farm. Together with his wife, they work in Tagum, Philippines, and they provide queens, supply pollination, training, and also provide colonies for sale. Now Paul's got a really interesting story for us today. He's going to tell us all about this bird they've got there in the Philippines. It's called the bee eater. Now, what's interesting about this bird is it goes around eating all the drones and all the queens when they're out flying, so it makes it really difficult in the Philippines to raise queens. As a consequence, a lot of apiaries in the Philippines have 100% AI queens, which is really interesting. So they're not running any open-mated queens at all. So really interesting story today from Paul. Hope you enjoy. Paul, do you want to start by telling us a little bit about your history as a commercial beekeeper? So you're based in the Philippines, but you've done a lot of work in Australia and in the US. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yep. Actually, I've started beekeeping in like 2009. That's where I started the basic beekeeping. So I was still in college back then, and I got this mentor. My mentor, Dr. Ador Picasa of the University of Southeastern Philippines. So he is also my neighbor. So before, when I was still young, I kept on passing his house, and I got intrigued because what is this wooden boxes like coffin outside this house? So when I asked him, oh, that's honeybees. It produces honey, and then it pollinates our the trees, the flowers, because he is also a uh, uh, forestry engineer, like that, something like that. So that's my curiosity started when I was still little. And then there's this time when he conducted a training seminar in his bee farm. So I joined that one in 2009, and then that's the start of my beekeeping journey in the Philippines. And then uh, after graduating, I have this chance to go to the US as a beekeeper back then. And then my then girlfriend is she was also doing beekeeping in our place. So I got her to go to America too, and then that's how we got our experience in queen rearing. Oh, my boss, she taught my wife how to do better queen rearing with the commercial techniques and that. So that's the start of my commercial journey.
Excellent. So, and you were working in the US together, you and your wife. So you learned queen rearing, and you're also doing a lot of almond work, weren't you?
Uh, in my first boss, because in America I already got three bosses, so I worked for three different companies there. So in my first boss in South Dakota, so we do avocado pollination. So that's in California. So
Yes.
and also in California, that's where we do queen breeding and queen rearing, because in South Dakota it's very cold. So during the spring or during the farm season in California, that's where we do the splits and the queen rearing before we go back to South Dakota for the clover and for the alfalfa, or you call that in Australia as, I think it's lucerne.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So before that, before we go back to South Dakota, everything should be done already. So that's the honey flow in South Dakota. And then in my next employer, uh, which was based in Utah. So we do queen breeding also, and uh, pollination through almonds, but we do not we don't go to the almonds in February. My boss will hire a broker, and then the broker will get the bees in Utah, and then they are the ones gonna take care of the bees and the almonds. So what we do is just uh, prepare the bees before they go into a wintering shed. We call it wintering shed. So during the winter, the bees goes inside into this big potato shed, and then uh, in February, they will remove all the bees in the shed and then send them to almond pollination. So my main job really is just taking care of the bees and then do queen breeding and queen rearing. So uh, other than that, if they need a hand in feeding, like feeding, harvesting, that's a time where we're gonna help them.
Right. Excellent. And so you have taken those skills back to the Philippines and you're doing a lot of your own queen raising in the Philippines. And we
Mm-hmm.
were talking earlier about this issue you've got in the Philippines. You've got this bird, it's called the blue-tailed bee eater. And what do you call it locally, sorry?
Pirik, pirik,
Okay, yes.
Pirik, pirik, pirik.
Yes. And tell us why this bird makes queen rearing a real challenge in the Philippines.
Oh boy, it's like the new varroa but 10 times deadly. Because when you have a varroa, you can just treat it with a meticide or like a oxalic acid, formic acid, and then a few months, then it's gonna be okay. But with pirik pirik, with the honeybee eater, you cannot kill them here in the Philippines unless it goes to your registered apiary.
Yes, because they're a
Yeah.
native protected bird.
Yep, there's a law about it. And then there is this one beekeeper here in the Philippines that shoots a lot of the bird, and then he put all the dead uh pirik all over his apiary to like scare all the birds. And then somebody took a picture, put it in Facebook, and then his bee farm got closed. The
Yeah,
government
no,
closed his
definitely
bee
you can't be
farm.
doing that kind of thing. No,
Oh
absolutely
yeah,
not.
because it's very mad because the what happens is the bird can eat 300 honeybees per day. That's one bird. So
Wow, yeah.
and then they go in flocks like families of 5 or 6 at one time. So if you can scare one family, a few days after another family will gonna be replacing that spot. So it keeps coming back. And then what happens is if so so we queen breeders we rely on the mating flights to be successful, right? So when the virgins go on mating flights, they can't get back because the bird is gonna eat them in flight. They're gonna catch the bird in flight. I mean, they're gonna catch the virgins in flight. So
Yep.
that's what happens. You got very poor success in mating. Also, it's not the problems about the virgins, the drones also. So
Yes.
yeah.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. So you were telling me earlier that because of this issue, there are people in the Philippines that have AI queens in every colony.
Oh yeah, that's very
So
common now.
they're running entire apiaries with AI queens.
Yep, that's very common. Uh, the price of a mated queen and the price of AI queens are almost the same. Here it's priced about 2,500 pesos. That's roughly around 50 US dollars here. I
Wow.
mean, yeah, 50 US dollars here, 2,500 pesos. So it's very expensive, and it's for a common beekeeper, and it's not very sustainable actually. And
Yes.
it, it is what it is because if you don't buy AI queens, then your your you're gonna your colony is gonna collapse.
Yes, because you can't get your own queens mated because of
Mm-hmm.
this bee-eating bird.
Yeah.
That's crazy, isn't it? But I've never heard of it before that entire apiaries would be filled with AI queens, and that's incredible. But as you know, in Australia, the only time we'd use an AI queen is for a breeder queen.
Yeah, it's for
But
breeder.
so
Yep.
yeah, it was really surprising for me to hear that you're running entire apiaries with AI queens. And do you find that these apiaries that are run entirely with AI queens, do you notice any difference between those and, say, an apiary with open mated queens?
uh, because of the bird that is the true suspect of what is happening now. Most of the naturally mated queens are they lay very poor. because there's not enough drones to mate the queens. So
Right.
so
Yeah.
so after just maybe 2 to 3 months, the queen fails. So the AI queens are much better than the mated ones here.
Right, because they're getting
Mm.
the maximum amount of
Yeah,
drones that
and
they
and
need.
and also the supply of the queens, they will give you 6 months warranty. So if the queen becomes a drone layer uh, uh, before 6 months, then they will replace it.
Wow. So have you been to the places where they're producing these AI queens?
No, it's in Luzon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I
it's
imagine
north.
to be able to produce AI queens at that rate, there must be people who are doing it all day, every day.
Oh, yep. There's this. I think there's the beekeeper's name is Romy Fignol. So he is really a master of AI. And then there's some other guys that's from the University of the Philippines that's doing it too now.
Yeah, that's
Mm.
really interesting. Because generally, the understanding here in Australia is that AI queens, they're really good as breeder queens, but they're not really great producing colonies. Would you disagree with that?
Uh, I think it depends on like on how you use it, and maybe because I don't have any like that my experience with AI and mated is very biased on the AI side because the mated queens are not very good here
Mm.
now this time because of the birds.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's really
mm,
interesting. That's so interesting. I'm surprised to hear that you've got whole apiaries of AI queens. That's incredible. So it's this guy. What was his name? Who's producing them?
Romy
Yep, and he's
uh,
based in
in Luzon. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which is North Philippines, right?
Yep, north.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, interesting. All right, so that's really interesting. Now, in terms of differences between queen rearing in Australia, the Philippines, and the US, is there any other difference besides the bee eater that's in the Philippines? Do you notice any other differences?
Uh, you mean how we do the queenery or the
Yes.
queens? I think it's the weather. Here, it's
Okay.
the weather is very like it's it's unpredictable and predictable at the same time because when the weather so we beekeepers we rely on the weather, right? Like uh 10-day forecast, oh, it's gonna be good for queen mating like that. That's how we do because we in queen rearing there's a process for every step, like a 14-day process, something like that. So here in the Philippines, the weather is very unpredictable. Sometimes when you see it's very sunny. During the day, it's just gonna rain. So that's one of the difference here in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike in Australia, it's hot whole day. It's gonna be hot. It's and in the US also, it's if it's summer, it's gonna be summer. Here in the Philippines, there's something we call a rainy summer. It's summer, but it's gonna rain.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think also the in in the Philippines because there's not a lot of people that do queen rearing, so the genetic diversity of the uh, of the bees are not that very diverse.
Mm-hmm.
So it's being what you call it, it's being very there's just a few people that do queen rearing, and
Right,
it
and we're talking about Apis mellifera, right?
yes Apis
Yes.
mellifera.
Yeah, so that's the bee you're using. You're not using Serrana, are you?
No, I don't use Serrana because they swarm often. Like
Yes.
if you put them in one location and then they feel that no more food, then they're just gonna swarm on you, leave everything behind. uh,
Right.
it's very it's a problem when you do commercial beekeeping like that. But there is a place in Luzon that do all serrana, like in 1 yard 200 serranas.
Yes.
I don't know how they do that. How they prevent the serrana to swarm. The only thing you can prevent them to swarm is they have food.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. So I don't want to say anything about that, what they're doing.
Yeah. So the Apis mellifera strain that you have in the Philippines, is that an Italian strain?
Uh, I don't know what's the specific because there's some guys that uh last year, I think it's 2021, they import some queens from Australia.
Okay.
So it's very diverse now here because
Mm-hmm.
of what happened, because there's not a lot of beekeepers doing queen rearing. So most of the time the queens are just coming from the same source. So the beekeeping association in the Philippines, they ordered queens from Australia, and then I just don't know what specific species it is. It Italian or Carniolan or Cordovan? But they say mostly of here it's black. It's
Mm.
Carniolan.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
Yes.
Carniolan or Caucasian.
Yes. Yeah.
There's some
Uh,
Italians too. Yeah,
mm.
I see some Italians.
It's good fun raising queens. I love seeing your videos. You often post videos of doing grafting and things like that. There was a video you posted a few weeks ago doing some grafting in the front seat of your ute,
Yeah.
which I thought was a really great video. I do the same thing. It's the best way to do it.
it's it's the only way to do it when you have no choice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, some people will have tents. They take around these little tents and put up tents to do it in.
Mhm. Oh
And
yeah.
I've also seen people use caravans and things like that. But front seat of your ute, that works pretty good, I think.
Yeah. That's what we do in USA, because we have different yards. We have
Yes.
different queen yards. So when we go there, we just do grafting. That's it.
Yeah.
No,
And are you doing that in the vehicles as well in the USA?
yep.
Yeah,
In,
same thing.
in most of my employers where I worked before, so only one company that got his own very, what they call it, a queen yard.
Yes.
So he the barn is the queen room. So this queen room is very, what you call that, uh, conditionally temperature. The humidity is very perfect for queen rearing.
Mm.
Also because they got humidifiers, they have heaters, and then we have very good lights. So I think that's the very perfect for queen rearing, no? And
Mm.
then in the other ones, we just use the car. That's it.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
long as as long as you got the wet rug, the wet cloth you put
Yes.
in
Over the cups.
yep, cover to that, it's not gonna get dry.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Paul. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your business there in the Philippines?
Uh, I ran the Rafosala Bee Farm that was founded in 2013. So me and my wife founded the farm. And we have a few employees that helps us run the farm also. Then we do bees, uh, sell honey, and then do pollination services for farmers. And we mostly do Apis mellifera and Tetragonula biroi. But now, because of the increasing number of honeybee eaters, we are slowly shifting to stingless bees now.
Yes.
Mm. So that's how uh, our farm works. So we're just adapting to whatever is coming on our way.
Right. And you're doing a bit of training and things as well, aren't you?
Yep. We do basic beekeeping and commercial beekeeping. So if there's some people in the mountain that wants to learn how to do it commercially, we teach them also the American and the Australian way of beekeeping.
Great. All right, Paul. Well, I think we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it. And
Yeah.
yeah, maybe you might see you one day.
Yeah. Looking forward to that.
All right, Paul. Well, have a
Yeah.
great night, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
See ya.
Yeah, bye.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed that episode having a chat with Paul. Really interesting story that he had about the bee eater there in the Philippines, and as a consequence, they need to have apiaries with full AI queens. Really interesting stuff. If you want to chat to Paul more about that, you can get in touch with him at Rafosala Bee Farm on Facebook, and he's also looking for some work in the upcoming season. He's interested in going either to the US or to Australia, both places he's been to and worked before. So if you are looking for someone who's an experienced queen raiser in a commercial setting, let him know. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed that episode, and if you want to get in touch with me, as always, you can at nixonqueenbees.com.au. And until next time, thanks so much for tuning in.